Welcome to the Hampshire Cricket live stream as tonight the Hawks take on Middlesex. After the disappointment of the washout last night, come to see if James Vince's side to get some momentum in this competition. Catch all the action here on the live stream.
So John, you're back in Vitality Blast action against Middlesex. How much are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Obviously nice to be back home after a few games on the road and hopefully get a positive result.
So you guys have been on the road. Was it frustrating getting up to Middlesex without playing a game? Are you guys ready to go for this one?
Yeah, it's never great travelling, particularly to Glamorgan and then sitting around and having to come back without doing anything, but I suppose it puts us in a better position for today and be fresh and raring to go.
And what sort of threat do Middlesex pose today?
I don't think they've had the greatest results past few games, which almost makes them that much more dangerous. We know the potential they have and the players they have, so I think we've just got to be wary of that and focus on our own game, and then hopefully that puts us in a position to win the game.
And just finally, how excited are you to get back out playing at Utilita Bowl after those 3 away matches you've had?
Yeah, obviously very excited. Nice to be in front of our own crowd and double header, which always is exciting. So looking forward to it, and hopefully you can give the crowd what they want.
have awful grass stains on them.
The Southern Vipers up against Northern Diamonds, followed here at Utilita Bowl, of course, by Hampshire Hawks up against Middlesex, which means it's a busy day for the ground staff, and our head groundsman here at Utilita Bowl, Simon Lee, joins us. Simon, first of all, the weather has been getting everybody down. Does it get a head groundsman down as much as everybody else?
No, because I'm used to it, I suppose, but I have had about 20 questions this week. What's the weather going to do? What's the weather going to do? But, you know, you don't know, do you, until the day. So at the moment, the sun's out. We've had a few showers this morning, but nothing that's got in our way. We're ready to go. And hopefully nothing comes along that's going to really affect the rest of the day's play.
I guess you factor in, because you know what's coming roughly with the weather, so you can factor in when you're going to work, when you can get on the wicket, all those things.
We know the sort of timings of what it takes to get the covers off. So we were in at 8 o'clock this morning, but we didn't need to touch the covers until 11. So, you know, we could get on and do some other bits and bobs, game set up, advertising boards, dugouts, those kind of things, and just to make sure we're ahead of where we need to be, so when we do get a chance to get the sheets off, we're there going and we're off on our way.
Obviously, when you're preparing for a T20 game, you're preparing for a 40-over game maximum, but today you've got a double header. Does that change anything in the preparation?
A little bit. You just want to make sure you've got enough moisture in the pitch that it's going to be lasting out in the sun, hopefully, all day. So obviously, you know, if it's a later game in the evening, I can sort of manage those moisture levels a bit easier, because I want it to be right for 7 p.m, whereas today it needs to be right quite early. So you're tending to get the pitch ready sort of a day beforehand. I want to make sure it's ready yesterday. So all we need to do is take the covers off and we just go. So whereas normally on a one game day in the evening, I'll probably still have a little bit more work to do in the mornings, just final rolling, cutting and that kind of thing.
Just for non-pitch experts, and I'll include myself in this, we hear the players often talk about the difference between a day game and a night game and how the pitch might behave. Obviously the Vipers game is in the day. In terms of the ball skidding on and things like that, how do you expect the pitch to differ?
Yeah, well, the big difference you'll get in the evenings is dew. So, I mean, at the moment it's quite windy, but we could also get some showers. So what tends to happen is a bit of moisture will come onto the grass surface, so that will then generally help the ball to just ping off the surface and come through with a little bit extra pace. So what you can see in the evening games, especially the second half of those evening games, it become a bit easier to bat because that pace is coming on through the ball, hitting a bit of dew, a bit of moisture, and it just makes it a little bit easier to chase sometimes in the evenings.
Tell us about this pitch final. It's a new one today.
Yeah, new pitch, so we're just 1 over from where we were last week. Pretty much the same process, cut to 6 mil. Rolled, it's hard, good covering of grass, so yeah, hopefully 2 good games of cricket.
Yeah, I just saw Eddie Birrell come out and tap the surface and have a look at it, and he went off smiling and nodding, so he's pretty happy.
That's it, job done.
Simon Lee, the head groundsman here at Utilita Bowl, thanks ever so much for your time. Big double header on the way here at Utilita Bowl.
get on as Wood comes into Hamo again. It's like he's just held in the wicket, and so he looked to flick it over mid-wicket.
From Gloucestershire, not really wanting that. It did stick in the wicket, I think. It looks a little bit slow, perhaps. Oh, and that's a thick inside edge, and that's going to dribble away for the first boundary. And not where Bancroft wanted it to go.
So he looked to take him down on the leg side. Benny running across, Benny Howe.
Oh, it's a great catch. Great catch there by Benny Howe. Diving, made a lot of ground. And that is the end. Actually, it's not Benny Howe, is it? Is that Vince? It was Vince, wasn't it?
That was Benny Howe.
Was it Benny Howe? Coming into Bancroft, who gets deliberately plays that down to third. Just uses the pace on the ball. And comes in, and that's slammed straight back down the ground there by Bo Webster, and goes away for 4 runs.
Slash through the offside, giving himself some room and gone for 4 through point. Lovely shot from Bo.
Fuller in, and that's gone down the ground there. That's going to be 6 runs and goes into the first floor balcony there. 6 of the innings, and it's a great shot there, wasn't it?
Yeah, lovely shot. It's him just using his levers. Bit of momentum coming down the wicket at him, and Bancroft goes for the reverse paddle and he gets it away. Lovely pass, short third man. That'll be 4 to Bancroft.
Yeah, innovation there from Bancroft. Turner comes in, and that's screamed out into the long boundary, and it's picked up just inches from the floor for 29. It's a good catch, actually. He had to make a lot of running there. And Turner in, and Charlesworth drills in down the ground, but that goes to James Vince. That's a brilliant piece of work, and Charlesworth is run out. That is outstanding from James Vince. He pirouettes, throws it, and hit non-striker's end, and Charlesworth is short of his ground, and that is just an unbelievable piece of work there from James Vince. And to the wicket, Jack Taylor's bowled, and Taylor goes for 3, but marching to the crease comes their red ball skipper, Graham Van Buren, and he's rescued many innings for Gloucester. He's been in fine form this season as well, Van Buren.
He's been looking very good in the red ball stuff.
So 65 for bang.
Oh, it's a good catch at long on. I think that's Fuller.
It's Fuller out there.
Yeah.
Tall man. It's good to have your tall fielders out and long off and long on, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that is the end of Bo Webster, as that has gone straight up in the air, and that is going to be out as well. And that's a good catch from James Vince. DeLunger and Gloucestershire are in a spot of bother here, Joe Phillips.
Yeah, we've lost a few quick wickets.
Palmer's a very capable batsman, and that's a beautiful shot.
Pulled there by Van Buren venomously, and that runs away for a comes in. Taylor goes for the big one. That's going to be 6 runs. Big shot over long on, and Matt Taylor
take it to Dawson, and he's cleared Nisa there long on comfortably in the end.
Taylor hoiks him into deep mid-wicket, and that's going to go 1 bounce for 4, and that brings up the Gloucestershire.
Bangs it in short, that's top edge, that's carrying all the way. A little bit of luck for Matt Taylor, it's a bit of bad luck for James Fuller, but Gloucestershire will take it. As in comes Fuller again, he goes full, and that's launched down the ground. That's enormous. As that disappears over the side screen, that's a fantastic strike there for Matt Taylor.
Matt Taylor!
As he comes in again, slower ball, edged and gone.
Yeah,
that's a good comeback.
Ben McDermott off the bowling of James Fuller, but that really is an innings that might have got Gloucestershire back into this game. What do you think, Tom?
It's always charged in hard, slams length, and that's beautifully bowled.
Bowled in. Payne goes for just 3. And Ajit Singh Dale is the final batter.
I think when you asked me earlier, Dan, about what I'd be looking to do in this period, I mean, as in he comes again to Van Buren. As he swings that out, I think that's going to be caught, and it is. Is that Liam Dawson at deep square, and that brings Gosha's innings to an end.
Yep.
125 the target for Hampshire, the two sides, but who knows, it's there's shown to be a little bit in this wicket, a little bit too paced, a wicket for the seamers, and with Gosha having 4 out-and-out quicks along with Bo Webster, who took his maiden first-class 5 for only a couple of weeks ago.
David Payne comes in. Oh, he's bowled him! McDermott goes offside, trying to ramp him, and Payne, and that is just the start that Gloucestershire needed. McDermott goes for a single.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Early wickets are key. He's gone for the scoop, off stump, out the ground. Here's Matt Taylor to Vince, short and pulled away nicely from Vince. He's put that away to full effect. That's 4 runs past short. Here's Matt Taylor.
Oh, that's a glorious shot there from Vince, straight down the ground. That's lovely. It was in the air for a while though. Here's Payne to Vince. Oh, yes, gone! Vince has gone. Payne has struck, and the Shire.
That's a big wicket of James Vince. Payne getting another one. It's just nipped back there.
Inside edge.
The inside edge, yeah.
Yeah. Bracey loves it, doesn't he?
Loves it.
Oh, that's kept a little low. He's going to get 4 runs, Gubbins, but moral victory there for David Payne.
Here's Ajit Singh Dale into Gubbins.
Gubbins has got away with that.
Got an upper edge on that over the man at short thirds, Ben Charlesworth there. Ajit Singh Dale goes short this time. And I'm not sure he's got much of that. Might have come off the glove or the handle of the bat. And it goes past Matt Taylor.
To Gubbins. Oh, that's got to be close. It is. Gubbins goes. Payne spears in a Yorker. 31 for 3. It's game on, Joe Phillips.
It is. Here's Marshall DeLange into Weatherly. It's a good shot.
Oh, flicked from Weatherly through mid-wicket for 4 runs. That is a good shot.
Here's DeLange, he's gone short. That's a great shot.
1 bounce for 4. Crashes into the advertising boards right below us. Ajit comes in. Oh, that's a good shot there by Albert. Just waits for it and cuts it back with a point.
Slow into crease, there you go, Nick straight away. That's what you're talking about, Dan, that control. Difficult to get away, puts a bit of doubt in the batsman's mind. In comes Webster again, clips, and that's for 4.
Shot. That's a good shot.
He's hit that mid-wicket.
Coming in from the Ashley Down Road end. Full, and that's... No, he's hit that into the... Oh, he's been given! He's happy about it here. What has happened? It's got into the ground. He's hit it into the ground.
It's LBW. It's a good length. It's cut down to third man, that's going to be 4. A little bit of width.
Yeah, that
well
goes
played from Fuller.
In. Oh, that's a full toss which has been slapped away. That might be a no ball, and that can't be cut off either. And that's smashed down the ground there by Albert. No messing about. DeLange having to duck and take cover.
Here comes Payne from round the wicket, slower ball. Albert's done well there. I think Payne actually deceived him, but he's held his shape and pulled that behind square for 4.
Singdale into the wicket, and that's pulled with aplomb there. 2 bounces by...
Comes into Albert. Oh, it strikes him down the ground beautifully.
Yeah, Albert, 1 bounce for 4 into the side screen of the Ashes.
Adge into Fuller. Lovely strike over mid-wicket. As Adge digs it into the surface, and Singdale into Fuller again. Brilliant Yorker. Brilliant Yorker from Adge. That's best quality is his pace, and just finishing off the innings with him. Yorker again. Nicely hit over cover from...
Howells finishes it with a 1 bounce for... On the board, Dominic?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think perhaps the wicket was a touch too paced, so it would have been interesting to see with a score.
Welcome to the Utilita Bowl, where we are minutes away from the second of today's T20 matches. Earlier we saw the Vipers beat the Northern Diamonds to secure their place at Women's T20 Finals Day, a week on Saturday. We're a little bit further away in the competition in the men's. We're still in the early stages of the group games. This is Hampshire against Middlesex. That's coming up at 7 o'clock. Your commentary team is myself, Kevin James, and from BBC Radio London, it's Jamie Reid. Jamie, good evening.
Very good evening to you, Kevin. Delighted to be here. Always such a great place to come and watch, and a good crowd in place, as you would expect for a double header.
Certainly is. Now, the news of the toss. James Vince won it, and Hampshire are going to bowl first. And I think I heard him say, being interviewed after the toss, that he thought maybe there was a couple of showers forecast and that would be ideal. Probably is, isn't it, batting second?
Yeah, I think you're in control, aren't you? I know that didn't necessarily work out for Middlesex yesterday against Essex, but generally you do get that little bit of control with the DLS method. So that will be the thinking and the aim. And certainly James Vince is a thinking man's cricketer. Middlesex haven't been great in this competition over the last few years. You just get the feeling that they can play better, they should be able to play better, but they just can't seem to find that winning formula consistently.
So each side have made one change since their previous game. Obviously you guys were playing last night, as you mentioned. Jamie, do you want to go through the Middlesex side?
Yes, indeed. One change for Middlesex. Josh Decares comes into the side. They line up as follows. Stephen Eskenazi is the captain. Martin Anderson, Joe Cracknell, Max Holden, Ryan Higgins, Jack Davis will keep wicket. Luke Holman, Tom Helm, Noah Cornwell, Henry Brooks and Josh Decares. So a spinner coming in for a fast bowler, and you kind of think maybe that tells us a little bit about the surface that we've got in front of us.
Yeah, that's interesting. Watching the game this afternoon, was there much turn there for Charlie Dean, Katie Levick, Holly Armitage, all spinners? I don't know, I'm not sure. Maybe the ball just held in the turf as much as anything, but it looks a pretty good wicket, I have to say, Jamie, for the seamers, so maybe that's why Middlesex, you're right, have gone for one less seamer. Hampshire made one change from the side, got absolutely pulverised by Somerset down at Taunton. They didn't even get out the dressing rooms last night at Cardiff. So the one change has come in the batting department. Nick Gubbins makes way for Felix Organ. So Hampshire are James Vince, Ben McDermott, Joe Weatherly, Toby Albert, James Fuller, Felix Organ, Benny Howe, Liam Dawson, Michael Nisa, Chris Wood and John Turner. Well, Jamie, what do you put down? I was saying earlier on another segment that especially the South Group, anybody can beat everybody else, but I'm not sure we can say that about Middlesex. They have struggled now for a while. What would you put that down to?
I think it's tricky that they've chopped and changed. They haven't necessarily played some of the players who they could potentially play. I'm not necessarily sure. You look at the situation. The county championship is probably the principal aim. Doing well in the championship is what the club wants to try and do. This T20 competition, I'm not saying they don't respect it, because I think the 50-over competition probably is third in the list, but they can't seem to find that formula. Stephen Eskenazi, I spoke to him a couple of times last season, and I think he felt that they're very much work in progress. You know, they're looking to try and catch up with some of the other sides. It's always a poison chalice, isn't it, the Southern Group, because a lot of sides do beat each other. You look at Somerset, you think they're probably the powerhouses. They've lost a couple already, so it just goes to show that sides can be beaten in this competition. Middlesex just need to try and get going. They've not been good, have they? They need to improve. They must improve.
The one win came against Kent down at Canterbury. Otherwise it's been a familiar story. You were saying about last night, and maybe the weather didn't actually help Middlesex too much, even though you guys batted second.
Yeah, getting the opportunity to hopefully control it against a good side like Essex. You always feel that they pinched Jordan Cox off of Kent, and he was a very, very good signing going up to the county ground in Chelmsford, and already he's hit the ground running. So they have got some good players. They're very intelligent with the way they think, they do things, and they'll always make it difficult for you on home turf. So you look at Middlesex, they got that one win against Kent. Again, Daniel Bell-Drummond's side will probably be one of the sides who may find it difficult this season, so who knows. one win so far. I can't see many more, sadly. I'd love to be the kind of person who says, yes, they're going to win every game. You just can't see it happening, Kevin, sadly.
No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can say that about any team. Maybe Somerset last year, I think, was the side that they had, and they deservedly won the competition. Just one win for Middlesex since 2003, and ironically, that trophy win came here on this ground back in 2008 when it didn't go exclusively to Edgbaston over the last quite a few years. And 2 quarter-final places as well is all that Middlesex have to show for this competition in what is 21st year, I think, or something like that. Hampshire have won the competition 3 times, equal with Leicester. They are the counties that have won this most, and Hampshire are going for their 4th finals day in a row. Now the table, it is early days, 14 group games, but Middlesex have played 6 actually, which is more than anybody else, but they do sit bottom with just the 2 points. Hampshire, well, they're not faring too much better. 2 wins from 5 with 1 rained off, and they currently sit in 6th place, so lots to make up for both these sides, and also, of course, still plenty of group games left, so nothing too much to worry about. Also, you guys are a bit handicapped. There's no overseas players.
Yeah, that makes it difficult. I mean, financially, the club isn't in the best shape, and that does make it hard. Everybody thinks you're a powerhouse, you play your games at Lord's, but not owning the ground clearly handicaps and makes it difficult for the team. But Stephen Eskenazi has said they've got to make sure they go on a journey with some of these young players, and I suppose when you look down that list you can see players starting to develop. Ryan Higgins went and he's come back again, which is an encouraging move. You've got the likes of Josh De Keres, who's a very good player, Martin Anderson, Joe Cracknell, Max Holden. I mean, the list is endless. There are players there who can develop into good players. We just need to start seeing it.
So, just to repeat, if you're just joining us, 4 minutes away from the start of this South Group game, Hampshire against Middlesex. Hampshire have won the toss and are going to bowl first. They've made 1 change. Felix Organ playing his first T20 games since the COVID year of 2020. He played 3 that year. That is all he has played. He comes in, as I say, for Nick Gubbins. And from last night, Middlesex have gone with Josh De Keres instead of Blake Cullen, so a spinner for a seamer, whereas Hampshire have just gone batter for a batter, really. So that'll be interesting to see. This wicket was used earlier today in the Charlotte Edwards Cup game between the Southern Vipers and Northern Diamonds. Northern Diamonds totaled 145 for 4. The Vipers got home after some early scares for the loss of 5 wickets with 7 balls to spare. So there is runs in this pitch, and normally round about sort of 160, I think, sort of gives you a very good chance. Last year, Hampshire won this game chasing 171 of Middlesex's, but the year before, Middlesex won by 10 runs with 163. So around that sort of mark, Jamie, I think is one to sort of look out for at the end of the first half of this game. Right, the Hampshire players are being led out by the 2 umpires, Nigel Long and Surendaran Shanmugram. They're being led out, the 2 umpires, and the Hampshire team are currently in a huddle. At the moment, the weather is fine. It is sunny, but it does look as though there may be just a shower or 2. We'll have to wait and see. Good crowd again, although at the moment for me slightly down on the previous home games, but that may change in the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. Kevin James and Jamie Reid to take you through the first passage of play. Charlotte Taylor is also with us, the Southern Vipers off spinner. She is around as well, and will take up commentary after the power play. Hampshire in their familiar light yellow tops, and Middlesex, what is that, crimson? Would you call that
Crimson is probably quite a good description. Yeah, I like that.
It's not a word you often use.
No, it's certainly not. No, almost an outdated word, but crimson is quite descriptive and a fair reflection on that shirt, which is a bit of everything, in fairness.
Yeah. Well, that word probably describes me, really. Aged and outdated, Jamie.
And me.
Michael Nisa, Hampshire's Australian import, is going to take the first over, and he's going to be bowling probably to Stevie Eskenazi. It's Stephen Eskenazi now, isn't it? He used to be Stevie.
Yeah, it changes.
Called Stephen.
Stephen now,
yeah.
Yes.
More grown up.
I guess it is, yeah. When my parents used to tell me off, it was my full name. Not that you can really shorten Jamie much. I suppose you could go Jay. I've never been cool enough to be a Jay.
It's always Jamie, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, crowd's just settling down now, and it's going to be Michael Neser from our commentary and the hotel end here. Right arm over, comes in and bowls. First delivery is driven out through the covers, found the gap, and that will be 4 runs from Eskenazi. Good start from him, and a good start from Middlesex.
Brilliant start, wasn't it? Eskenazi just had to lean into it, plenty of pace. There was a bit of width on offer, and he took full advantage to beat the fielder at extra cover. An excellent shot from Eskenazi. Looks a quick outfield.
Playing his 85th match for Middlesex in this T20 competition. Stevie Eskenazi, Stephen Eskenazi, still call him by his old name. And he's got a slip though at the moment as Neser comes in again. Better length, and that's just played into the ground. Eskenazi is helping the fielders by picking the ball up. That's nice of him.
Yeah,
nice
very
bloke
nice.
as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Always good to get in with the opposing bowler, especially if it's somebody of Michael Neser's quality. Good Aussie import coming in, and he's one of those players who you always know is going to put in a good shift.
That's for sure. He's around for about the first 9 games, Michael Neser, and then he's going home. Apparently he's got some young children, so wants to get them back in Australia. Oh, it's bounced outside the off stump, plays and misses. That's a good delivery. Bounced and left the batter. Bit of life in this pitch there. Beautiful delivery. Several ways you can watch and listen, and we're on the live picture feed going out on the Hampshire Cricket website. That'll go back to the Middlesex Cricket website as well. We're also on the BBC Sport website and app online. We are also on all frequencies BBC Radio Southern, as we are on all T20 matches. As Neser comes in again and bowls and hit into the pad by Neser. Called through for a quick single, left to hurry. The underarm throw, not the best in the covers there. I think that's Fuller. It is Fuller. And Middlesex are 5 without loss. And last but not least, we're also in ground commentary by the UPCs. Myself, Kevin James, and Jamie Reid with you.
I'm delighted to be here. We've already seen a bit of everything from Neser in this over. He gave away the boundary, going slightly wide of that off stump. But then we've seen a couple of very, very impressive balls since.
Martin Anderson will face the next delivery, and that's left him as well as he's into the drive. The ball's just pitched and just nipped away. Bit of early life here, Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see that he's bending his back and he's getting plenty out of the pitch. And carry on from a Hampshire perspective. Every time we keep getting the crowd interacting with the music that's being played, decent atmosphere. Hampshire has started nicely boundary aside.
Yeah, a little bit of help for the bowlers here. Hopefully that will carry on. Chris Wood, I'm sure, will take the second over from the pavilion end. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Neser to Anderson, who tries to hit that down the ground. It hits it into his boot. In fact, he tried to pull that around more towards the leg side. Good start here from Michael Neser. Apart from a little loosener, half volley first up. Middlesex after the first over. Lost the toss of 5 without loss.
And I think they'll be pretty pleased because Neser will see that he's going to get that little bit of assistance. He's going to get the opportunity to get some life out of this pitch. Difficult for the Middlesex top order. Martin Anderson's having this opportunity to open up at the top. Stephen Eskenazi certainly more of a cultured opener, and he's the one that they'll be hoping can really go on and make a telling contribution.
It's going to be Chris Wood, playing his 178th T20 match for Hampshire.
Amazing, and Wood racing in from the end. He's been a wonderful player over the years, just feathering that past the outside edge, angling it across the batter. They certainly know what's needed at the top of the order. A lot more expected. Nazi got underway with that boundary. Since then, only one more run since. Anderson yet to get off the mark. There's plenty of batting to come. One change for Middlesex tonight. If you are just joining us, Josh De Carey's coming into the side. That is the one change from last night in that defeat to Essex. Just the one victory so far in that game at the Spitfire Ground, St Lawrence, at the weekend. As just opening the face and working the ball to backward points is Anderson, and there's a large ripple of applause as he gets off the mark.
Yeah, the batting's been a bit up and down, isn't it, this season? Middlesex, a couple of games ago, bowled out for 78 against Somerset, but then over 200 against Essex at Chelmsford.
Yeah, it just goes to show that it can be a little bit up and down, and what you want to try and do, and what all sides want to try and do, and Richard Johnson has said this to his team, you want to try and be consistent, as shy at the stumps. That one was angled into the bat of Anderson. He pushed the ball up to mid-off, set off straight away. And I tell you what, James Vince not too far away there.
Yeah, good bit of fielding from Vince. A couple of games ago, down in Bristol, he was fielding in that similar position, ran around to his wrong side, and off balance, threw the stumps down for a run out. Best bit of fielding this season. He's good there.
Yeah, I've got to ask you a little bit about how he hasn't had more international honours. Bowling up very nicely, pushing Eskenazi back is Wood. He does offer that great variety delivery, and Eskenazi needing to be watchful there. A conundrum. I mean, you think of somebody down like James Hildreth when he was down at Somerset, people were surprised he didn't play for England. Vince has had an opportunity, but he should have played a bit more, shouldn't he?
I think everybody on the ground, they'd all say yes, he should have.
Yeah, it's a big surprise to most people who watch. And there is the first wicket of the night. Stephen Eskenazi showing his stumps to Chris Wood. He looked to try and sweep the ball, turn it round the corner, and all he was able to do was see off stump push back, and that is a big wicket, and that is a huge disappointment from a Middlesex perspective. 7 for 1, and the skipper's on his way back for 6.
Yeah, just watching the replay of this, he's probably a little bit too far outside off stump, but he's moving away as he's trying to scoop that away on the leg side. I think you'll see a lot of players, when they move to the leg side, they then try and steady themselves, try and get themselves in a position. But if you're watching the replay there, his body and his head is moving away too far away on the offside. He's not giving himself much of a chance to actually connect the ball. It's hard enough when you're playing a shot like that anyway.
Indeed, yeah, especially against the pace of an opening bowler. I can understand in the power play overs with the field up, you want to get that opportunity to get the scoreboard ticking, but maybe not the right time to be playing that kind of shot. Joe Cracknell is the new batter coming out to the Middlesex 7 for 1. We're inside the opening 2 overs. Power play overs, of course, for the first 6. And Chris Wood has got his towel up here. Here he is to complete the over. A couple of quick steps to try and get to the pitch of the ball for Cracknell. Races through to the wicket keeper. And that is the end of a very impressive over. Just 2 coming from it and the wicket. Middlesex in trouble losing that early one. 7 for 1.
I'll tell you what, Jamie, it looks a good toss to win, doesn't it, if we're seeing at the moment. There's a bit of cloud cover. In fact, if we look to our left, which is to the east, there's predominantly blue sky. And at the moment, right over us is half and half, and to our right, the cloud is a little bit more filled in. So maybe that's just having a bit of effect on this pitch. We didn't see too much happening on this pitch this afternoon, but I think these bowlers are just hitting the deck a little harder, and we're perhaps seeing just a little bit more help for these seam bowlers. So Anderson is going to face Michael Nisa, 3rd over coming up as he bowls, and he drives, doesn't time it. Oh, is that a caught and bowled chance? I think it was. It was probably a little too difficult because on his follow-through, it came at him fairly hard. I don't think he was out the middle of the bat. Just watching the replay there. Yeah. Well, he sort of got 2 hands on it, I think.
Caught it a little bit low down on the bat, but he certainly got plenty of power into it because of the pace from the delivery. And I think he did very well to stop what would have been at least a couple, probably a boundary with the ferocity of the shot.
Yeah. I think the first thing you do as a bowler is make sure you've got your fingers are still there, which they are. You can still hold the ball as he comes in, and bowls to Anderson once more, and Anderson flogs that away, and Vince does well at mid-off. Doesn't take it cleanly, but he got his body behind it and made sure the ball didn't get past him, and it's a single. And the total for Middlesex moves on to 8 for 1. Anderson moves on to 2. Cracknell has faced just the 1 ball. Slightly different order, isn't it? I suppose with no... well, that's because last night he had Holden opening with Eskenazi, and then Higgins 3, Anderson 4. Was that literally because there was only 8 overs to bat?
Fewer overs,
yeah.
But you just almost feel that maybe you're a batter light when you look at that team.
Yeah, true. Length ball, and that's worked behind square by Cracknell, down to deep backward point. Thinking about 2, but Anderson wasn't having any of it. Middlesex move on to 9 for 1. Decent crowd making a bit of a noise here. I had to sort of, at the end of the Vipers game, I had to go outside the ground and come round, and there was a lot of people coming in the gate on the east side of the ground. A lot of youngsters as well, which is good to see. So there's plenty of spaces, but it's probably 6,000 here. I think they were expecting 7, so maybe we're not far off that. Nisa to Anderson, runs away from us. Anderson picks that up over square leg, and that is 6. On to the bow, that's bounced down towards one of the fast food outlets Unfortunately, that's bounced harmlessly over the roof of one of them. But that's a big shot. That's a big hit.
Huge shot, yeah, picked it up very nicely. Best shot of the game so far. Anderson doubling his score and moving on to 8. You can see as soon as he got that elevation, no point looking to try and chase it. He's hit that and hit it very, very hard. If you're queuing up for your fish and chips, you needed to take evasive action.
Yes. Fish and chips is coming out of a blue double-decker. And then there's a smaller outlet next to it. I think it may have just gone in between the two. Has the ball not come back yet? It hasn't, is it? I think
no, still searching for it.
Yeah.
Got a new one.
Yeah, hopefully that doesn't end up in the fryer. Otherwise, somebody will have a surprise. May have ordered a meatball, and that's come out a little different. 15 for 1 in the third. That's cut and missed. No, he's edged through to Ben McDermott. And Anderson goes. Second wicket down at 15 in the third over. And that bounced and took the thinnest of top edges. Anderson goes for 8.
Well, they push Anderson in up top to look to try and get the scoreboard moving, and all he was able to do here, he's just scored the other side of the wicket. This time he's looking to play with fast hands, and all he's been able to do is just nick one through to the keeper, who's took a good catch because it was rising. It was a bit of a steepler, but he took it nicely, and Middlesex now in all manner of problems, losing those 2 with only 15 on the board.
Well, there's definitely help for the bowlers out there. And Hampshire at the moment taking full advantage of that. 15 for 2. Anderson's gone for 8. Before that, Stephen Eskenazi went for 6. Well, don't want to lose too many wickets in the power play. 2 have already gone, and we're only in the third over here.
Yeah, that is a concern. The run rate, in fairness, isn't bad, 5.29. You think to yourself you can build on that, but having lost those 2 wickets and both of the openers, certainly Eskenazi, that's a big, big scalp for Hampshire.
Max Holden, a new batter for Middlesex, 26 years old, playing his 59th T20 game for Middlesex. Left-hander. Nisa comes in and bowls, and he's off the mark straight away. Works that away in front of square on the leg side. Fuller's got work to do. He'll come back for a comfortable 2. 17 for 2 now, Middlesex.
Yep, 5-4 offside field, so there were going to be those opportunities once the ball goes out to that boundary's edge on the leg side. You always feel that you can come back. Very, very elegant to watch, Max Holden. Lots will be expected of him, because you think to yourself, maybe that one batter light, you do need a good contribution from the Middlesex number 4.
He's got the highest strike rate as well of any of the Middlesex players, 146 per 100. He doesn't hang around, does he?
No, he can hit a long ball.
Yeah.
He scores a high percentage of boundaries. Very elegant and good on the eye too.
Chris Wood just trying to get that field right at point. I think that's Toby Albert there.
And Wood is at the top of his mark and comes racing in and pushing for a single, a quick single. And you have to say that's good to rotate the strike, especially with a left and right hander. Cracknell just gets off strike and gives Holden the strike. And we know that he will look to try and get going in these power play overs. He'll have to try and temper that a wee bit, having lost those 2 wickets. It's going to be a little change in the field, because they know that Holden can score all around the wicket, and he's got plenty of opportunities if he bowls straight in onto the pads and gives him that leg side opportunity. Here is Wood at the top of his mark then at this pavilion end, runs up past the umpire, and again a wide will be signalled. He was looking to try and move around in his crease, and he's got lucky there.
Chris was saying to the umpire, let's move it across to the offside, and the umpire then made an exaggerated wide call to the scorers, as if to say, I'm in charge, you're not.
Yeah, a little rueful look from Nigel Long, who's been there and done it, played for Kent, of course. Surendiran Shanmugam is standing at that pavilion end, and he had to make sure that he was assertive there, because the bowler, Chris Wood, who's vastly experienced, certainly asked the question. This time, Holden just being pushed back, should be a leg by. We'll just wait for the signal from the umpire, which comes.
I think he's having a word with James Vince as well. It's Mr. Shanmugam, or Shanmugam, I should say. No R in that.
Yep, you can understand the frustration from the bowler. You're just asking the question if the batter's going to move all around there. in the popping crease. You just think to yourself, what can you do? Here is Wood again continuing, leg side onto the pads of Anderson, a shy for the stumps.
Holden was out by a mile.
He would have gone, yeah, he was looking to try and back up. In fact, Holden was backing up to Cracknell, of course, who is on strike. Anderson and Eskenazi back in the hutch, but he was out by a distance. 20 for 2, good fortune for Middlesex.
James Fuller with a throw there at mid-wicket.
And Wood again is ready to come in. This is the 4th ball of the over, and don't bother chasing that. Brilliant. Just onto the pads again and put away with clinical accuracy and good power by Holden. We'll just get the opportunity to see it again on our monitors. It was high, but it was a convincing strike. Got everything into it, and it's just raced away to the boundary's edge. Another welcome boundary.
It's almost like he was expecting it. Hit it well in front of square, on it so early.
Liam Dawson just looking to try and show that he's ready if required. John Turner as well. There's plenty of bowling options should they be required, and they will be needed by Hampshire. And I'm sure that James Vince will be looking to have a little look as Chris Wood just races past the outside edge here. Through it goes to McDermott, the gloveman.
Yeah, he's just trying to get Cracknell to think differently now, because the field is up on the offside. The 2 fielders that are allowed outside the circle in the first 6 overs are both on the leg side, so he's just giving Cracknell something else to think about, and there he's played a missed by actually trying to play in to out to find the gap on the offside.
What's the thinking with McDermott having the gloves? Well, you can answer that very shortly, because Wood will just continue here and driving down the ground. It should beat the fielder at mid-on who came across. He wasn't straight enough to be able to do anything about it. They take 2, they should come back for 3, and you have to say that's good composed running from the 2 batters to make sure they ran that first one hard and had the opportunity to get that 3rd one. So in the end, with the boundary and the 3 off the final ball, that's good. Wood's gone for 11 through his 2 overs. Middlesex 27 for 2.
Yeah, well, the Ben McDermott thing is very, it's his 3rd year back here, keeping each time. I mean, you know, Hampshire have won finals day 2 years ago. They lost the semi-final last year. There's no reason to change it too much.
No, I guess not.
Probably short a little bit on runs this year, although he started to show a bit more form with a quick 540 at Taunton on Sunday. Other than that, he's been a bit short, but he's too good a player, I think, to go through the whole group stages and not show something, that's for sure. He's been good the last 2 years. It looks like we're going to keep the same bowler. Nisa's going to bowl 3 overs here, may even bowl 4 out, who knows. 2 overs, 1 for 15. Middlesex 27 for 2, 4 overs gone. Nisa to Cracknell. Cracknell hits that thick outside edge. This could be caught down at 3rd. Oh, it's fallen just short. Just short. He went for the shot down the ground. He might be run out here unless he hurries up, which he does. And I thought for a minute that was going to carry. Looks like it just died down there. I think that's Toby Albert down there. Certainly not where he was aiming, Johnny.
No, no, he got plenty of bat speed into it, but with the lights looking into it, and he probably would have been looking into one, doesn't make it easy for the fielders, but I thought that it was going to be a comfortable catch.
Cracknell again. Now he gets it a little bit straighter, but it's gone over the head of extra cover. Again, not timed. James Vince running to his left at mid-off. 2 more off the bat. Maybe not off the middle of the bat of Cracknell's, but it's 2 more anyway. 13 he moves on to, off just 9. And Middlesex are 31 for 2. The 2 batters out. Eskenazi for 6. And Anderson for 8. Wood and Michael Nisa with a wicket apiece.
Well, you think to yourself, it is a gamble giving your Aussie import the 3rd over, but should he pick up another wicket here and Middlesex be 3 down, they would be in a fair bit of trouble. So I can understand the gamble.
Yeah, Cracknell again then. Nisa comes in. Cracknell edges through first slip. It's gone very fast and it's gone over the boundary rope. Again, he's trying to muller it down the ground, and there is still, and this is why you're right, Jamie, you can understand why Nisa's still on. He's still finding a little bit of movement off this pitch.
Yeah, he really is. That one's just shaped away, got plenty of bat speed into it. First slip would have swallowed it up all day and all night long, but as it is, with no slip in place, just a fly slip, I suppose you would say, on the 30-metre circle, it's just raced away, and 4 fortuitous runs, but they all count.
Certainly do. 35 for 2. Cracknell 17 off 10, facing the next delivery from Nisa. Nisa bowls, and he's beaten outside the off stump. That is a beauty. That's pitched around off stump, maybe middle and off. It's bounced, and it's left Cracknell and he's trying to play a proper shot to that, and he's still played a missed. Absolute ball of the game so far.
Yeah, brilliant. He bowled a very good one in his first over that was kind of similar. That one even better because he's bent his back, he's pushed it into the surface, it's got big on the batter, any kind of nick, and you have to think to yourself it's bringing the keeper into the game. Fortunately from Middlesex's perspective, the batter lives to fight another day.
That's for sure. Yeah, there's still 8 runs off this over. Cracknell gets a length ball, works that behind square on the offside, runs the first one quickly. No chance of coming back for 2. Sorry, it's Joe Weatherly out there actually. That was Joe Weatherly out there a little earlier, quite a long way away from here. We're high up, almost in the gods on this ground. 36 for 2, 1 ball left of the 5th, so 7 balls left of the power play. And then Hampshire can go a little more defensive. And Holden on strike. Only faced 2 deliveries. Max Holden.
Yeah, 2 from 2 so far. The run rate's good, 7.45 and over. Middlesex would be happy with that. If they can get up towards that 8 and over mark, anywhere around the 160 would be pretty decent on this surface, especially having gone 2 down.
That's right, yeah. We were saying earlier, weren't we? About 160 you should be aiming for here. Tries to drive down the ground. He's way outside leg stump. The ball misses the stumps, goes through to McDermott. End of the over. 5 overs gone. Middlesex 36 for 2.
Holden just looking to try and open up the offside. He showed all 3 stumps to Nisa. Had he bowled on the stumps, that would have been the end of his night with the bat in hand as it is. Holden just playing to Cracknell. I thought it might be the other way round, but Cracknell's played some shots, hasn't he? And he's going along nicely, 18 from 12. It's been good considering they've lost both openers, Middlesex. They won't be too perturbed by this.
So John Turner into the attack now. I think it's fair to say that John Turner has made a good impression since he came into the Hampshire T20 side last year, but he went for 64 in the game against Somerset, which is the 3rd highest runs ever conceded by a Hampshire player in this tournament. Is it me? I can't remember.
He's gone for a few there, hasn't he? That's a boundary.
It's you this over, isn't it?
Oh yes, sorry, apologies.
Right.
I'm miles away. I was just watching and listening to the comments that you were making about Turner, and he's bowled that first one with a fair bit of width, and it's just raced away to the deep cover boundary. Apologies, I'm getting slightly confused, and yeah, just settling into surroundings. It is very, very nice here. You have to say we are in a real elevated position, but we're behind the bowler's arm, or just to the left of the bowler's arm. You have to say it's very, very impressive. And here is Turner again continuing. This is a skyer, high up into the air it goes. It represents a catching opportunity, and it's been judged very nicely. Of course, it was the no ball, so the shy at the stumps there from the fielder who was in behind it. And just confirmation of who it was, Chris Wood. So Chris Wood was the fielder. It did go high up into the air. He judged the catch very nicely, but those 2 runs awarded to Cracknell, who is moving along very nicely. As mentioned, he's already on to 24 with the score on 44 for 2, and just offering a little bit of width, showing too much, and he's been signalled out here by the umpire. So Cracknell's innings is at an end. It has been a bit of a chances knock, 24 from 14. Turner took a little bit of tap, but he's got his own back, and he's picked up the 3rd wicket of the innings so far. 44 for 3 here. Middlesex losing wickets early on.
Yeah, another simple catch there for Ben McDermott. He's 2nd of the evening. Quick delivery. Quick delivery. That's the thing about John Turner. Yes, he went for a few runs at Taunton, as I just mentioned, but also he doesn't give the batters a lot of time. If you're thinking, OK, I'm looking to do this if the ball's in a certain area, then the ball's on you, and you almost haven't had time to really think. And he's just done a little bit for pace there, I think.
Well, he's tall, isn't he? He's got that upright action. He can cause you problems, and he does seem to have settled into life here on the south coast, where it is a wonderful opportunity for us to come here and look all around. We've got the Shane Warne stand slightly away to our right as we look ahead. We've got the Colin Ingleby Mackenzie stand as well, and of course the Rob Bransgrove Pavilion. Rod, of course, had the vision, wanted to get things going here and make the switch, and you have to say it's probably proven to be a good success, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, 100%.
Yeah. That's certainly the view from an outsider, making a bit of width, and that is very, very elegant because he just backed away Higgins. We know how good he is. We mentioned about that opportunity to go to Gloucester and then come back to Middlesex. He's timed that perfectly, leaning into it, taking full use of the pace on the delivery and just pushing into the gap for 4.
Yeah, over 100 matches for both clubs actually. Ryan Higgins, 57th game for Middlesex tonight, played 59 for Gloucestershire between 18 and 22.
And he's a great
2018, of course.
Great club man, yeah. He's one of those who really enjoys it. This time it's slightly leg side, and he just has to work the ball down to long leg where they take 1.
Yes, he'll be a thorn in Hampshire's side if he stays in for any length of time. It's quite unorthodox as well, isn't he, at times? Just manufactures shots. Good player. These two actually as a partnership actually could be quite exciting if they get going.
This is the partnership. You look at some of the batters to come. They got the likes of Jack Davis, who can certainly bat, and Josh De Keres as well. You know, there's people who can come in and perhaps make a contribution, but these two you would certainly be looking at to go big if they can. Middlesex 1 away from the half century, 49 for 3 the score. Fielding at short, extra cover there, and fielding very nicely is that Middlesex player who's in on the 1, and he's done very, very nicely there to restrict the single because that was hit hard.
It was. Had to go straight to a fielder.
Yeah, either side, and it's a boundary, but it hasn't raced away. He's gone for a few, Turner, 13 so far. He's got 1 to go here. He did, of course, pick up that wicket. 49 for 3 is the score as Holden looks on the left-hander, makes a bit of room. This time he is going to pierce the field, and it's going to race away to that deep cover boundary. The 50 comes up, and that is the end of the power play. And you have to say, in fact, it's a no ball, so he'll get the opportunity to bowl it again. He's just overstepped for the second time in this over, and with it being a foot fault no ball, there will be the opportunity to have that free hit. So another couple of bonus runs as well takes the score on to 55 for 3. And Middlesex, wickets aside, are going along nicely here.
Yeah, and John Turner's just finding T20 cricket a little difficult all of a sudden. Great first year, 22 wickets, hardly got hit at all. Now all of a sudden, it's a different kettle of fish.
James Fuller just warming up. Will he get the opportunity again? Looking to try and swing and missing Holden. And that is the end of the over and the end of the power play overs. Middlesex, they'll be happy with that. 55 for 3. Higgins has 5. Holden undefeated on 6.
Yeah, we bring Charlotte Taylor in. Thank you, Jamie. Jamie Reid will be back in about 6 overs time. With, well, they certainly have started well, but those 3 wickets. Eskenazi for 6, Anderson for 8, and Joe Cracknell for 24 are the Middlesex players that are out. Here's another former Middlesex player coming into bowl, James Fuller. And he's going to be bowling from our commentary. And welcome back, Charlotte.
Thank you.
I say welcome back. This is the first time for this game, but of course you were here for the Vipers game earlier this afternoon, which had their place confirmed in the Charlotte Edwards Cup finals a week on Saturday. We'll be there as Fuller bowls always down the leg side. That'll start with a wide. A few extras coming in here. A few no balls.
It's not what you need, is it, when the team are, the opposition are, I wouldn't say getting off to a flyer, but just starting to build momentum. Especially when Cracknell was striking it well.
Yeah, that's for sure. So Fuller comes in again then and bowls to Higgins, and Higgins gives himself a little bit of room, I should say, driven up to Vince, and there is no run. Fuller playing his 71st T20 game for Hampshire tonight. They rack these games up very quickly.
Yeah,
don't
they do. Even though you feel like the blast is over in a flash sometimes.
Not this year. Finals day back to September, where it was a few seasons ago, which everybody's not particularly pleased about. Everybody loses their overseas players by then. Fuller bowls. Higgins works that away on the onside into the gap. Moves on to 6, 57 for 3. I think I'm right in saying finals day. I think I wrote it down actually, because I should do really as a Hampshire commentator, because we're usually there. Finals day this year is on the same day as the semi-finals of the Rachel Hayhoe Flint Trophy, which is the 14th of September on the Saturday. Whereas last year I think it was July, wasn't it? It was much better.
Well, sometimes you just get it,
bang,
yeah.
bang, get it done.
Yeah, and then move on.
Yeah.
Because you also go back into your county championship cricket, you change formats, it becomes a little bit more difficult, doesn't it?
Bit colder. Here's Fuller to the left-hander, Holman, and swings that away on the leg side. Couple of bounces down to deep backward square leg. And Holden moves on to 7. Run a ball 7 for him, 58 for 3. Middlesex in the 7th.
This is a key partnership, isn't it? Holden being there, sort of most dominant with the bat. 153 runs before today.
Yeah, this is potentially a dynamic partnership. Higgins strikes at 135, mentioned earlier. Holden strikes at 146, which is the highest in the Middlesex side. Here's Fuller to Higgins. Bowls short. Higgins tries to pull that away on the leg side and hits it straight into the ground.
Got really quite big on him, actually.
Yeah, it was a good bouncer, actually.
Umpire saying 1 for the over. That's your quota.
38 wickets for Hampshire. James Fuller going for 3 off the first 4 balls. It's a good start, just needs to finish it off, which of course isn't always easy, because once the batters haven't probably got the runs they feel earlier on in the over, they're looking to do something. I'm sure Higgins is at the moment. What's going through his mind as he drives back to Fuller? Half stopped by Fuller, well stopped by Fuller, and there is no run. Just gave himself a little bit of room. Fuller bowled it arrow straight, which was perfect.
Just wondering whether it was a half chance in his follow through. It's hard to say from this angle, because obviously we're behind the bowler. Just to see, doesn't look overly upset that if he has dropped it, it'd be a very hard chance for 1, but he doesn't look overly annoyed at himself. Usually that's a bit of a telltale sign if it was an opportunity missed.
It's true, it certainly got close to carrying, didn't it, if it didn't. Last ball of the 7th over, Fuller comes into Higgins. Higgins drives up to mid-on. They'll take a quick single as it goes to Nisa. Nisa throws at the bowler's end and misses. But a good over there from Fuller. Just the 4 runs, I think, off that.
Yep.
Yeah, 59 for 3, Middlesex. 7 gone, I think it is.
It is.
Yeah.
Good steady start from both sides, really. Wickets in the power play for Hampshire. And a bit of a rebuild happening now for Middlesex, who have struggled in this competition thus far over the last couple of years in their T20 cricket. So we're wanting to put that right. They've got the quality to do it. And these 2 are very important to them, as in Higgins and Holden. So if they can stay together to the back end of the innings, then who knows what will happen.
I was saying to Jamie earlier, though, it's a handicap playing in this competition without any overseas players.
Definitely. Were they due to have one that pulled out, or just not?
I
can't remember.
think so. I didn't read anything.
No, I couldn't. No. I can't think of anyone. But there we go. Dawson then, see the first of Dawson from the pavilion end. Balls round the wicket to Higgins, who's looking for a single into the offside. He's a busy player, doesn't get it. Dawson just marshalling his troops from the top of his mark. He's got 3 on the leg side, a long off and a deep cover. And Higgins finds long off. It's a new one.
You thinking of computers?
Yeah, log off. And picks up a single. Might have logged off between games. Might need to log back on now. It's more about my brain than it is the game in front of me. Crowds filled in nicely here. Friday night, of course, at the Utilita Bowl. Expect to see lots of fans here, and we're being treated with them tonight. Lots of kids playing on the concourse. Over the wicket, Dawson to the left-handed Holden, who makes room and drives to the offside and finds the fielder at deep cover. James Fuller out there does the good work. 1 more to the total.
I think it's going to be fascinating to see how Dawson bowls to Holden, because I think Holden will be eyeing up. It's a slightly short boundary, isn't it, for the left-hander on the right-hand side.
Dawson to Higgins, driving nicely as Higgins up to Nisa at long on the top end of the ground. Another 1 to the total.
Because Holden does have very fast bat speed. I know Dawson won't want to be here at the ground. He won't like that.
Doesn't want to bowl into his arc here, though, does he?
Might bowl very full, I think.
From this angle. Oh, that was shorter.
Slower.
And slower, yeah. Popped up off the pitch a little bit. Hit him in the shoulder, I think, in the end, as he's trying to pull it into the leg side. Ended up being a dot ball. 1 more ball of the 8th remaining. Good start from Dawson. Boundary needed for Middlesex. One would feel. Uses his feet. Holden clips it into the leg side, looking for 2. Was the first one hard, but will only get 1. Good work out at the deep mid-wicket boundary from Toby Albert. And that's the end of the 8th. Middlesex 63 for 3.
Yeah, 4 runs off it. That's a really good over. He's actually opted for the sort of slower delivery, isn't he? Shorter than short of a
And it
length.
just popped up.
Yeah, it did, yeah. Well, it's quite interesting because Middlesex have gone for the extra spinner tonight, and Josh DeCary's left out seamer Blake Cullen. So maybe they feel that, you know, maybe the spinner taking a bit of pace off.
Have Hampshire done the same with Organ?
Well, that might be the thinking. You know, he gives you the off-spin option, doesn't he? That might be. It's not. Maybe. I mean, I build it at the start as being a straight batter for batter. But maybe there is the thinking of perhaps Organ with an over or 2 of off-spin. Who knows? Yeah, you could be right. Benny Howell, who's a little bit above spin, not much,
marginally.
with his weird medium paces, comes in and bowls to Holden, who drives out into the covers, goes out to Toby Albert.
Do you think he'd appreciate a weird medium pacer?
Well, yeah, weird mix. Yeah, not a weird medium pacer, but a weird mix, which I'll be honest with you, I don't think I would be able to pick any of them.
Well, it's just you never get 2 balls the same, do you? Which proves very difficult.
That's very true. 64 for 3 in the 9th. And Higgins is back on strike. 9 from 10 is Howell. And he's trying to work that on the onside. Doesn't time it. Sent back by Holden is Higgins.
That was the right call.
Yeah.
McDermott quick from behind the stumps to collect it from the leg side. I think if I managed to pick one of Benny Howell's deliveries, I think I'd be doing laps of the pitch, so excited that I actually managed to pick one, bearing in mind he's probably got 24 different ones.
It's weird, really, isn't it, really? As that's cut away by Higgins out to point. He moves into double figures, 65 for 3. I mean, I wouldn't even know what some of them are. I mean, I guess off spin, the obvious one, and sort of bit out the back of the hand, and then knuckle balls with, you know, your knuckles behind the ball. And
pushes it out the front.
Yeah, weird. Round the wicket, hauled away on the leg side by Holden. Hasn't really timed that. Goes out to Fuller. Again, I suppose it's difficult to know exactly what it's doing coming off the pitch from Benny Howell. What pace is it coming off?
And then
you know what pace it's going in.
It's just what pace it comes off.
Yeah, it's not, and it's only subtle, but it can be enough. Higgins cuts that away to backward a point, and that's half stopped. And there will be a single throw. It's Joe Weatherly there.
It's just like it is such a skill to then perfect all the different ones and land them in the place that it's one thing actually bowling it and then getting every single one to land where you want it to.
That's right.
That's the ultimate professional in him.
Round the wicket again, down the leg side. That'll be a wide. Just waiting for the umpire Nigel Long to signal, which he does. 68 for 3, coming towards the end of the 9th. You're right, that's the skill. The skill's not only sort of holding your fingers different and doing things around the ball differently, but it's actually landing it in the same place. Howell bowls, turned around the leg side by Holden. Only be a single throw. That'll be the end of the 9th over. We've got 11 to do here. And Middlesex just slowing up a fraction here. They are 69 for 3.
Yeah, another good over, only 6 from that one. It's in the last 3 overs. They've only conceded 10, which is gold dust in T20 cricket for Hampshire. They're really putting the brakes on Middlesex that lost 3 wickets so far if you've just joined us. I need to get my words out, otherwise this is going to be really painful. I don't know.
Games?
Well, I had lovely chilli downstairs. It was lovely. Did you have some of that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, lovely.
It's obviously had a different effect on you than it has me.
Sorry. Eskenazi, Anderson and Cracknell, the 3 to fall so far. Dawson to continue then from the pavilion end. Bowls to Holden. He tries to drive through the offside, gives himself a bit of room, but can't make contact.
Somebody must have put something in yours.
Yeah, probably.
I'm sure mine will kick in somewhere in the next innings, maybe.
Dawson waits at the top of his mark. Past the umpire and pulling into the leg side is Holden. He'll get 4 for that. Split the fielders perfectly between deep mid-wicket and long on. And it was a rare bad ball from Dawson, really. A half tracker, sat up, and Holden could pick his spot, and he picked one right in between the 2 fielders in the deep. 73 for 3.
Yeah, he's looking for that. I think he knows Dawson's bowling it just short of a length slower, isn't he? So it's to change.
That was fuller and quicker, and it's got the treatment as well. It's almost taken the head of Ryan Higgins, the non-striker, as he's hit it gun barrel straight. As we watch this again on the live picture feed, if you're watching, it's a bit full and wide. It was a full toss in the end and was just swatted back past the bowler. Back-to-back boundaries for Middlesex.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be long before Dawson's speared in a full delivery.
He's in again. That's shorter. and quicker and cut through the offside. Some work for the fielder to do in the deep. James Fuller comes round nicely to his left, slides and gets the throw back in. Concedes 2, so good over so far for Middlesex, 10 off the first 4 deliveries. 2 more to do. Dawson in again. Holden shuffles across and Dawson gets a hand on that, and I think it actually might have saved the life of the umpire, who was ducking and diving out of the way. Watch this one again on the live picture feed. It was hit tremendously hard. It was in the slot. And it came off Dawson's hand. It might even ricocheted off the umpire's back as he crouched and ducked for cover. It conceded 1 nonetheless. Dawson's last delivery to Higgins. It's just quietly nudged onto the onside. They've run the first one hard, looking for 2, but Dawson gets the throw back in almost furiously in response to that. It's a good over for Middlesex. 81 for 3 at the halfway stage.
Yeah, I think they'll settle for that, wouldn't they, after losing 3 wickets in the power play? Certainly losing those first 2 wickets with a score just on 15. Eskenazi and Martin Anderson going early. Wood and Nisa picking up those wickets, and then Joe Cracknell, 24 of 15 deliveries fall into John Turner. 44 for 3 they were then. And these two pushing the partnership up to around 40, just late 30s at the moment. But yeah, I think they'll be reasonably happy. There's been movement early on for the bowlers. Maybe not so much now as the ball's got a bit softer, but certainly those first 3, 4, 5 overs, Nisa in particular was getting a bit of movement. Here's Benny Howe to Ryan Higgins, 37 actually these two have put on. That's pulled away on the leg side. He's found the gap. Oh, that's got to be 6. I think that's, oh no, it's 4. Oh no. Nigel Long, the umpire at this end, thought it might have been 6, but the square leg umpire, Mr. Shan Amugam, said no, it's 4. There was inches in that one. So Higgins moves on to 16 off 15 deliveries, and Middlesex move on to 85 for 3. Remember, they've only just won 1 game this season so far out of 6. There's Howe comes in, slower ball. That is very much a slower ball, and Higgins was waiting and waiting, and in the end didn't do anything with it, just pushed it into the ground. I think he'd lost his options. He'd gone through so many options waiting for that ball.
And then decided against all of them.
Thought, well, no, I can't think of anything to do that. Just played it into the ground. Here's Howell again. Bowls, and that's giving himself almost too much room there, Ryan Higgins. Manages to cut it out on the offside for a single, and moves on to 18, and it's 17, and it's 86 for 3, halfway through the 11th over here at the Utilita Bowl. The sun has just disappeared behind some, well, clouds, but they're not threatening.
Clouds, but they're not clouds.
Yeah, fortunately they're not too threatening. Oh, he's bowled! Oh, Benny Howe celebrates. And I think Holden can't quite believe it that he's missed that. Just gave himself some little bit of room to try and force that away on the offside. The ball just hit the top of the stumps. He goes for 23 off 19. And Howe there's the change of pace. He just outfoxed Max Holden there.
Big wicket that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
These two were building a nice partnership. They're building some momentum off the last over of Dawson, and then Benny Howe comes in and strikes. So it's a big wicket for Hampshire. And the in-form Max Holden has to go. And Jack Davies, the wicketkeeper Jack Davies, comes to the crease at number 6 with some work to do for Middlesex.
That's for sure. So 86 for 4. Those two put on 42.
Good partnership, wasn't it? Needed to be broken.
Yeah. Certainly did. 42 in 5 overs, actually. So Jack Davies, 24 years of age, playing his 32nd T20 game for Hampshire. Benefiting now from John Simpson moving to Sussex, keeper batter. That's a good move for Sussex, wasn't it? Having him down there, I think he's done quite well. From what I hear, 1 or 2 people I've spoken to. So he's been a very good addition down there on the south coast, along the south coast. So Benny Howe just changing the field around. We've got another left-hander, Jack Davies, who is the wicket keeper for Middlesex. So here's Howe staying round the wicket, bowls to Davies. Davies is forward, just pushes that to mid-wicket where Fuller fields, no run. Last ball of the 11th over coming up. I've been scouting the crowd when I went over between the 2 games and back again. I couldn't see any stag or hen parties. I don't know if you've seen any.
No, I haven't seen any.
There was a few at Bristol the other night. That's pushed away for a single Jack Davies will keep the strike. 11 gone then, and Middlesex are 87 for 4. No, I couldn't see anything like that tonight. Friday night, you would have thought that might have been
Friday night in June.
Yeah, but
a night at the cricket. You're now promoting stag and hen parties as well as creating the T12.
yes. That would be perfect for stag and hen parties, 12 over games.
Yeah, it would be. I
Still
wonder how many beers can you sink in that time?
There's still time to get into town.
Yeah, absolutely. Dawson then is going to continue. Ball 2 overs so far for 16. His last over was a little bit expensive compared to his first. He's bowling to the new batter Davies, who nicked the strike at the end of the last game, who's sweeping hard. And Felix Organ does brilliantly on the boundary to only keep that to 1. It's a fantastic stop. Made good ground and got the throw away quickly. 88 for 4 Middlesex. Dawson in again, this time to the right-handed Higgins. He's just pushing forward into the offside. Vince does the fielding and doesn't throw the ball. So he's happy to concede 1 on this occasion. 89 for 4. This has got to be a big partnership for Middlesex.
Yeah, a couple of 20s, a couple of players getting into 20s, but no more at the moment. Higgins is 18, not out. Probably the next one to get into the 20.
Add to the queue.
He needs somebody to get a bit more, don't he?
You do if you're going to win the game. And the ball's beating everything. Don't know how it's missed the stumps, really. It looks straight as an arrow. Davies missed it. And Ben McDermott took the bails off, but square leg umpire Nigel Long says not out. Not quite sure how it missed the stumps. But there we go. Dawson in reverse sweep from Davies this time. The umpire's raised his finger. Umpire Mugan says that's out. Dawson's got 1. This is first of the night. It was full, it was straight, and unfortunately for Davies, the finger was raised and he's got to go for 2. So another wicket for Hampshire, stunting. Another partnership for Middlesex. They find themselves 89 for 5 now.
That's a real risky shot, isn't it, really? That's dead straight. You've got to get a bat on that. You can't afford to miss because you've gone. The pad's in front of the stumps, you've gone. That looked out, didn't it, the moment it hit the pad.
Yeah. And I think he knew it as well. As soon as he missed it, I think he thought, oh no.
He's almost walking.
New batter Luke Holman. All-rounder. 9 wickets. He's the wicket taker for Middlesex with his leg spin.
Strikes at 132, which is...
Can bat.
That's not too bad at all. Yeah.
Needs to play a bit of a hand here if Middlesex are going to get up to something defendable. As a big gust of wind comes past here again. We said there were going to be a few. There wasn't actually as many as I thought there was going to be.
No, it's been a relatively calm day, isn't it? I mean, we see the worst of the weather up here before it gets down the bottom.
We do. We get it before it hits. Dawson in again and just worked off the pads. Holman into the leg side. 1 more to his total. Well, he gets off the mark, really. Of course it's 1 more to his total. What a silly thing to say. 90 for 5, Middlesex.
I think you should stay off the chilli next time.
Yeah, it's a bad idea, wasn't it, really? Dawson in again to Higgins. He tries to cut that off the back foot. He's unsuccessful. Can only find James Vince. That's the end of the 12th. 90 for 5.
Charlotte Taylor is going to continue, and alongside her will be from BBC London, Jamie Reid.
Thank you, Kev. 8 overs to go then for Middlesex to try and build a total, really. Said 160 would be a good score before play started. They're another 70 away from that. 5 wickets to go. How do you see this one, Jamie?
Well, it's one of those where they need to try and bat Charlotte, don't they? And they need to play around Higgins here. He's ticking along nicely, 18 from 19. And we know that he can really get in amongst it when he hits those boundaries. So 160 certainly looks a total that they can look to try and get to, but they're going to need a partnership, aren't they? They're going to need two batters to really spend some time together.
They are. How then? Round the wicket to the left-handed Holman. He's cutting into the offside, and the fielder in the deep does the fielding. One more to the total. 91 for 5.
47 more balls, 60, 70, maybe 80. You know, you just never know.
Howlin, another slower delivery. You can see, managed to see lots of them. Finds Dawson at long on as he slaps that one up towards us here in our commentary position.
He mixes up his pace nicely, doesn't he? Bowls with that scrambled seam and makes it very, very difficult for the batter to pick him.
Licorice all sorts, Benny Howe. Pushing forward is Holman into the gap on the offside. Toby Albert at deep cover. One more to the total. Just got to build a partnership, these two. Find a stable base in which to explode from, if they can. Howe past the umpire. Bowls into the pitch, and it's slapped through on the leg side. The two fielders are converging, Dawson and Albert. They do well between them. Dawson in the end gets round from long on to do the fielding. Two more to Higginson's total. He's into the 20s.
And it's tricky, isn't it, Charlotte, for these two batters, because there's no real pace on the delivery. They've got to try and generate any pace that they can.
Yep, they've got to do all the work. He does that on that occasion. Higgins pulls nicely off a back of a length delivery into the leg side. Poor throw really coming in from Toby Albert. Ben McDermott has to deal with that. One more to the total. 96 for 5.
Yeah, not easy when it hits those wicket ends and comes into the keeper. You certainly don't want them like that, but when you throw it into the surface, it does take a little bit more of a lacquer off of that ball. Makes it softer too.
Back of a length delivery. Holman wanted one, but Organ was quick to get round from point and doesn't allow them to get through. So we're through 13 overs here at the Utilita Bowl at Middlesex. 96 for 5. 7 to go. The brakes are being put on. The wickets are falling. It's not easy out there for Middlesex.
No, it's really not, and that's what happens when you lose wickets. The rate's not bad, 7.38. You think to yourself, with 7 to go, but they just need Higgins to try and click through the gears. Looks like they're going to go back to pace here, Hampshire, and that might give the opportunity to try and just throw their hands through some shots. John Turner was a little bit more expensive, wasn't he, in his first spell? They'll look to try and get after him again, I'm sure.
They will. He was expensive in his first one, Turner. 19 off the first. Did pick up the wicket of Cracknell.
Yep, and he's still got 3 to go, hasn't he? Middlesex 4 away from the century. 96 for 5 is the score. Here he is running up past umpire Sham McGam and bowling one on leg stump. You could see that he just looked to try and back away and open up that leg side. Higgins, you just get the feeling that he wants to try and play a big shot, but he's mindful of the 5 wickets that they've lost. The last thing you want to do is put pressure on the lower order. There is Josh DeCary's to come. Other batters can still play a contribution and play a key role, but lots depending on Higgins here, who's gone leg side. It should beat the fielder. It does beat the fielder, and it races away out towards Cow Corner. It was hit with great ferocity by Higgins, and that brings up the Middlesex 100. You just feel that he's ticking, he's waiting for that moment, and he's covered that off perfectly.
Good shot, wasn't it? He's now trying to move through the gears, like you say. Jamie needs to do that for his team here to get up to that sort of 160.
Just sat up invitingly. Here is Turner again, running past the umpire, and again the batter just moves away. There will be the chance to run through because Chris Wood got in behind it, but he wasn't able to stop the ball from going for a single. It just moved away from his grasp, and that enabled Higgins to run through and bring Holman back on.
The Hampshire roars you can start to hear around the ground now. Famous Hampshire roars.
Yeah, plenty of noise being made. The Seagulls looking to try and find their dinner as they're sweeping all around us. 101 for 5 is the score as Holman just sends Higgins back. He wanted to try and come through here. but you could see he was just sent back, and I think it probably was the right decision. 5 so far from this turner over. He's into the 5th ball of the over.
Yeah, they don't want to run out now, do they, really? That would be the last thing that they would need.
Yep, indeed. They need to hopefully start picking up some runs. That's not going to help. It's a dot ball just racing past the outside edge of Holman's bat. He's 3 from 6, looking to try and play to Higgins. And every dot ball is greeted with a cheer here. Certainly by Turner, because he's gone for a few, but Howell has been economical at the other end, as you tend to expect. 1 for 18 through his 3. And to complete his 2nd over, here is Turner running up past the umpire and just squeezing the ball out to deep cover. Here's Holman, which means that he will keep the strike, which isn't too good from a Middlesex perspective, but it's another run on the board. 102 for 5 the score here.
102 for 5. Don't know how I see this one now. 6 overs to go. It's got to take Higgins or even Holman to say, right, I'm gonna go now, and you're gonna just keep batting, Mr. Higgins. But if they went at 7s now, I don't think that's going to be enough. So they need to try and up the ante if they can. It's a good batting wicket. There's a little bit in it for the bowlers as well. But we like that, a good cricket wicket. Return of James Fuller then from this, the hotel end.
Yes, a good point. 7 and over, only gets them another 42, which takes them up to 144, and that would be light, you're sure of that.
Fuller to Holman, who waits. Left-handed Holman. So a back of a length delivery that's played into the offside, and a quick single is taken to Felix Organ. The backing up was good as well from Benny Howe, coming in from the deep mid-wicket boundary and keeps it to 1. Good fielding from Hampshire, good bowling from Fuller, that back of a length. It's where he's so dangerous, rushes the batters as well as they try and pull the ball, gets lots of catches where the ball gets too big on the batters.
Well, they needed to try and get Higgins back on strike there. He was backing up, wasn't he? He had to take on the bowler's arm, and that's shy for the stumps. A direct hit would have been very tight. I think he would have gone. Fortunately, he's got 5 balls to look at here.
Higgins then waits. He's 27 not out for Middlesex. And he hasn't got hold of that one as Vince runs in and takes a good low catch at mid-off. That's the end of Higgins. The ball just held up a little bit. Got the outside edge of Ryan Higgins' bat. And he falls for 27. If you're watching on the live picture feed, we're watching it once more. Fuller the one to strike. Yeah, it just tried to hit it too hard, if anything. And didn't find anyone other than James Vince diving forward. It was a good catch. And Higgins goes for 27. He's out in the 20s as well. Middlesex struggling again, 103 for 6.
Well, that is the concern, that nobody's really gone on. People have got in, but they've not been able to really take advantage. I wasn't sure initially if it had carried. He looked to try and get his hands underneath it. No concern from umpire Nigel Long, who's one of the best in the business, so it means that he has to go. And Josh DeCaires gets an opportunity to come out here. We know that he can bat, but unfortunately, with a senior player going, it does put a lot of pressure on these 2 younger players. Somebody's got to try and play the aggressor, play the more advanced role here and get some runs on the board, because James Vince has played a clever hand here, picking up wickets at crucial intervals.
Yeah, the Hampshire Hawks really picking up wickets, like you say, every so often. Means it's really hard to build partnerships, really hard to get going as a batting unit when you just keep losing them. Fuller then down the leg side. There's a half an appeal, mainly from the crowd, as it goes through to wicketkeeper Ben McDermott.
Must have flicked the pad. Initially, I thought that maybe a wide would be signalled there, but he's got away with it.
Must just flick, well, it didn't flick the bat, otherwise there'll probably be more of an appeal from behind the stumps and the rest of the Hampshire players. The dot ball is good for Hampshire though. Fuller over the wicket, good length delivery, hits the top of the bat, top of DeCaires' bat, can't do anything with that. Brilliant delivery. Vince, Fuller, Nisa, all discussing maybe plans or just who's going to bowl when, or I'd love to be in the brains of those boys down there right now. Fuller then. A Fuller delivery. She's got the outside edge of the bat. It's played nicely actually by De Carey's all the way along the floor. Picks up 2 to third.
Well, he's very elegant. He's one of those who is pleasing on the eye. Josh De Carey's, you always get the feeling that perhaps he could bat a little bit higher in the innings.
Wants himself as an all-rounder. Known for his off-spin. But can do a job with the bat nonetheless. Fuller then for the last ball of the 15th. It's down the leg side. Again, it must have clipped something because it's not called a wide by umpire Nigel Long. So the batter's saying it's not hit. It's not hit anything because he's complaining. Oh no, the umpire's just signalling that you've moved across, and therefore then it's gone down the leg side. So therefore, if you move from your original batting position, it's not called a wide, and that's what the umpire's just saying to Josh De Carey's there. But the result is that it's a dot. It's good for Hampshire. It's not so good for Middlesex. After 15, they're 105 for 6.
Well, I can understand the frustration from the batter. The laws of the game continually change, and it makes it hard not just for batters out there in the middle. It's also difficult for anybody watching on. Nigel Long, as mentioned, is very good. He's stood in a number of games. They've been very good with the ball in hand here. They've been very economical, the Hampshire Hawks, and here is the latest over, which is being bowled by Turner again. Turner looking to try and add to the 1 wicket that he's picked up so far. Very expensive in that first over. He had a good second over on his comeback. Fuller at the other end, the former Middlesex player, has been very, very impressive. He's only gone for 7 and picked up a wicket in the 2 overs that he's bowled. That's the kind of consistency that you want from an all-rounder. 105 for 6 is the score. Here is Turner charging in once more, and it races past the batter who was backing away, Holman. He's 5 from 10, finding it difficult out there. Just needs to try and nudge one maybe and get De Carey's onto strike easy from up here. But at the moment, Middlesex finding it tough out there in the middle.
Yeah, it looks quick as well, doesn't it? It just looked like it beat him for pace. Went straight through him. He did try to make himself a bit of room, but it did look quick as it went past him and hit Ben McDermott's gloves in a flash.
Well, let's not forget that there's plenty of cloud cover. The floodlights are on. The ball will be nipping around, and that's just got big on the batter. He's looked to try and turn it round the corner, Holman, and it's just gone whistling past his bat, whistling past his helmet and through to the keeper, McDermott. And that is another dot, and unfortunately they're joining up. 3 bowled in this over, and it's 3 dots so far.
It's a good over from Turner. He's come back well. His first over went for 19, and since then he's only conceded 6.
Here he is, running in past umpire Surendira and Shanmugam, and driving down the ground and picking up 4 runs is Holman. He did that little pressure release, and he's been able to pick it up. Off was up, and as he hit with great power, he's going to race to the boundaries. 4 more willing runs and welcome runs from a Middlesex perspective. Boundaries not too rare. 109 for 6.
Yeah, they have. Rare indeed. And Middlesex lofted it nicely in the infield. Got good connection.
26 balls to go. 109 for 6 is the score. Here is Turner. That's gone high up in the air. It could be an inviting opportunity. Fielder down at long on. He makes absolutely no mistake. You need to make sure you judge them very nicely. And Benny Howell has done just that, using all of his experience, watching the out of the net. And that is another wicket to fall. The latest, he's holed out in the deep. Howell has taken a good catch, and Turner's made it wicket number 2. He's on his way back for 9.
All of it sounded beautiful off the bat up here, but he didn't get any of it straight up. And Benny Howell came in, settled himself to the boundary rope, took a good catch. And it means that it's now 7 down and pretty much into the bowlers now, James.
Yep, Tom Helm is the latest batter to come and join Josh De Carey in the middle. As you say, you're now looking at the bowlers and hope someone can play a little cameo. Somebody that can make sure that De Carey sees a fair bit of the strike and they can use up these balls, because the last thing he's go back, used all of them. Let's not forget 5 balls to go here in this innings, and that's just raced past the outside edge of Helm. It's never up there first up because it is great pace that Turner is bowling with. Up in the pavilion, you've got to make sure that you're in the dugout. You quickly got to get your eyes right. 109.7, 16 overs gone to go. Middlesex in trouble here.
Yeah, they are. Only 3 wickets remaining. You don't want to get bowled out in a T20, or in any cricket you definitely don't want to get bowled out, but in a T20 criminal, you want to use up every delivery that's available to you. Fuller's going to continue. It's bowled well so Fuller. 2 overs, only conceding 7. He's got a loose ball in him though. Middlesex will be thinking about that. As he turns at the top of his mark. Bowling 2 De Carey's, who uses stumps onto the offside and plays nicely into the offside, finds the gap at cover, and Benny Howe deep cover does the fielding. 1 more to the total. Middlesex 110.
Again, very elegant, but he's only picked up a single, and it puts a little bit of pressure on Helm because he's now got to try and do something, especially surveying the scene. 5-4 offside field.
Fuller in again then to Helm. So Yorker length delivery out well. Helm runs the one hard, but Nisa comes in off the long on boundary to fit just outside the. 1 more to the total. 1-1-1 for 7. Second time that we've been on 1-1-1. We've all got to stand on 1 foot if we're Middlesex fans.
Yes, indeed. On the board, I suppose I should show solidarity. I'm doing just that. David Shepherd would approve.
Fuller again, straight, flicked off the leg. It's going to be a wicket, I think. It's not working. A wicket falls on 1. Fuller picks up another one, drifted onto the pads of De Carey's. I thought he got a good pick, but again, straight to the field at deep square leg. Felix Organ does the catching. James Fuller does the bowling. And Middlesex on another one, they're 8 down.
Well, you mentioned about it not working. It's not working at all, is it, tonight? Because when you see the score, Nelson, the dreaded Nelson, striking once more, and you mentioned using up the overs, and that now looks a distinct ability because Helm is out there, and he's got to hope that Henry Brooks or Noah Cornwell, just confirmation it will be Brooks. I thought it would be the former Warwickshire man, who is a very good cricketer. But there is pressure on, and I tell you what, those skies do look very, very dark, and you wouldn't be at all surprised if we didn't see a little bit of rain here, because those rain clouds do look menacing.
Yeah, it's just got very dark, hasn't it, overhead? There's no real breaks in it in the minute. There's a little bit over to our right. As Fuller comes in again, bowls on the pads of Brooks, who plays that nicely. Into the leg side. Felix Organ comes in off the rope at deep backward square to do the fielding. 1 more to the total, 112 for 8.
It's a good pickup, Brooks. Sometimes you look at opportunities and you think to yourself, will there be the opportunity to pick them up if they're not getting opportunities? He's had some injuries to contend with, but he is one of those who can produce with bat and ball, and he's decent in the field.
Fuller in again to Helm, who's slapping one off the back foot, nicely up to long on, along the floor. Michael Nisa comes in from the long on boundary. It is raining. Umpires are going to go and players off, unfortunately. The Hobbs is starting up. We're at 113 for 8, just coming to the end of the 17th, but they're going to go off for rain, so a little rain break here. How do you see this one then, Jamie? How do you see this one?
It's frustrating, isn't it, when you see rain come, because there's not some of these supporters. The situation is that people are having to try and find, and the situation is Middlesex are bang in trouble. Hampshire know that they hold all of the aces because they're second in this game if we do get back out there, and I'm pretty confident we'll get the opportunity to go back out there. They've only got 2 wickets in hand. You think that they're really going to be able to score many more runs, but hopefully it'll only be a short, sharp shower, and then we will get the opportunity to have a look at the Hampshire top order. The state of the game, Middlesex 113 for 8. Brooks undefeated on 1. Helm is 2 not out at the other end. but it looks like it is getting ever heavier, Charlotte.
Yeah, it is. We're going to take a short break here, and we'll come back with you, hopefully, when there's some more action, when this rain stops in a few moments' time.